Hey everybody, pop punk guitar covers here, and this was a great week because I just found out one of my most favorite post-hardcore, indie, emo, not pop punk, but pop punk adjacent bands, Boys Life, just put out new music. And this is crazy to me because this band was active in the 90s and they broke up in the 90s. They were active with all of those original kind of Midwest emo bands from the 90s, bands like the Get Up Kids, Mineral, Christie Front Drive, Jimmy Eat World. Get Up Kids actually cites them as one of their most important influences, but they were active in the 90s. They played with those bands. They broke up in the 90s, and never thought I'd ever hear new music from them again for a really long time. I was actually lucky enough in 2015 to catch one of their reunion shows. I'll put some images here, and these are some of my most coveted and favorite images because I thought a show like this was never going to happen again. They played amazing. It was a fantastic show, but I thought it was always going to be kind of like a one-off thing. So these are some of my most prized images because of that. But, they did go on recently, as of like 1 or 2 years ago. I think they did play some hometown shows, and they did have a re-release of 2 of their albums on a box set. So I always kind of thought something was kind of brewing there. But anyways, here we are. So this is one of my most favorite bands, and I don't believe they get like a ton of attention, a ton of credit on like playlists and lists that are out there. But this band, they are master songwriters. Definitely have amazing dynamics in their songs. They go from like really quiet, clean guitars, whispered vocals to like full bore, like distorted, heavy guitars, and weave in and out all kinds of like field recordings of like crickets and train whistles and like night sounds, static. So really cool. They craft some of the most amazing songs I have ever heard. But anyways, I found out about them after they broke up back in like 2005 or so. Sort of listened to them all the way up until, when they did a reunion show, and never thought I'd ever hear new music from them again. But here we are. And so I want to do a first time listen of one of their songs. They put out kind of like a 2-song release here, and I believe an EP is to follow, which is also really exciting. But I want to dive in, give one of their songs a listen, and give them a reaction. So here we go. This song is called Always by Boys Life. All right, the first thing I definitely got to mention, there's that like eerie, spooky feedback. And I know I'm probably going to raise some eyebrows, but this really sounds like almost like a Korn song. When you think about it, they have those really eerie feedbacks in their songs. And I feel like all of a sudden all these like sludgy guitars are going to come in after that. It's really cool. And then the drums kick in and we realize it's not going to happen that way, but definitely reminds me of that. So. All right, this is really cool too. The guitars come in and they sound normal, right? Like it sounds just like a kind of like a rock guitar chord or chords being played. But there is a chord change in there that I feel like is so signature Boys Life that even though the production quality is like really far ahead from anything Boys Life has done before, I instantly feel like this is a Boys Life song when that specific chord change happens. I don't know the names of the chords that they are playing, but there's like a chord change there and a bend, and I'm like, boom, this is a Boy's Life song. Like, instantly feel it, which is really cool. All right, here, when the vocals come in, there's definitely something has to be said for the fact that the singer, Brandon Butler here, the crystal clear production of his vocals is insane, because in earlier Boy's Life recordings, the vocals were set really far in the back. His voice wasn't really that tamed. It had this like punk post-hardcore quality to it, you know, set back in the mix, coupled with their lo-fi production. We couldn't really make out lyrics or anything, which really added to the mystique of the band. I enjoyed like going and like looking up what the lyrics were, because I couldn't understand. You know, I could feel them. They felt really emotive, but I didn't know what they were. But here, you can tell he's been working on his voice, first of all, probably ever since Boy's Life broke up. It's crystal clear. We can hear every lyric, and the production quality is so good. It's unbelievable here. Like, you know, he has that Midwest sort of Americana quality to his voice. And it mostly reminds me here, he was in another band after Boy's Life called Canyon, and this lyrical style really reminds me of that. But, you know, we can just tell that his vocal quality has improved and come so far since Boy's Life, which is absolutely really amazing. So. Yeah, right there, those guitar bends, it's like signature Boy's Life. Again, crystal clear production. And then like we hear those bends, I'm like, boom, this is a Boy's Life. Because like I said, earlier Boy's Life, the production quality wasn't really as clear as this. So I almost feel like I'm not listening to Boy's Life for a second, but then I hear that and I'm like, you know, this couldn't be closer to a Boy's Life song. Another thing, we hear this like a lot of repeated kind of melody, which is definitely different from the early Boy's Life stuff, the stuff they put out in the 90s. That like repeated melody and everything, definitely. And Boy's Life fans, if you're out there, you probably know, but if you don't, you're going to thank me for this later. Brandon Butler was in another band after Boy's Life called the Farewell Bend. And in that band, we got definitely higher production quality. The songs felt still very post-hardcore-ish, but there was a lot of like repeated melody, which is cool because that sort of reminds me of the Farewell Band, you know, when I think about it. So he has the vocal quality of his other band, Canyon, mixed with, you know, melodic quality of Farewell Bend here. And yeah, it's like two worlds are colliding. But anyways, if you don't know, definitely listen to the Farewell Band. If you like Boy's Life, if you like 90s emo, if you like post-hardcore, listen to the Farewell Band. You'll thank me later. Damn, that chorus just makes you go, oh, because it sounds like so familiar, but not in like a copycat way to me. It's just like, it's so 90s. It sounds like almost like a Jim Blossom song. Like, I'm not gonna lie, almost like Jim Blossom's like Toad in the Wet Sprocket kind of song, like straight from 90s radio, which is incredible. Because this band is a product of the 90s, but I'm hearing that, and then also the way that it's sung really feels like Christie Front Drive to me in a way too. And Christie Front Drive, another band that like didn't have that like crystal clear production quality in like the vocals and whatnot, but you could still tell that their songs like had a lot of melody in them. And Christie Front Drive also cites another 90s band called Buffalo Tom, which was more in that like pop rock realm, more like Jim Blossom's kind of thing, where Christie Front Drive cites them as an influence. So it's interesting how all these worlds are like colliding, right? You have like Boys Life, who played sort of alongside with Christie Front Drive in the same scene, but then Christie Front Drive like citing bands like Buffalo Tom, who sound more of that like 90s pop rock sound. And then you have here Boys Life now also sounding like that 90s pop rock. So it's all these influences colliding here, with this chorus. And this is an incredible chorus. Like, I feel like this reminds me of sort of like, I'm like in my car or on the radio, in my bedroom, like back when I was in like, I don't know, the 5th grade or something, because like I'd be like tuning the stations and all of a sudden like I'd hear a chorus like this and this would make me stop, for sure. So it feels like 1996, and you hear just like this amazing belting chorus and it just draws you in so much. So I'm really digging it. Yeah, I just can't stress it enough, like how like 90s rock that sounds. And it's crazy because this is probably where like Boys Life was headed back in the 90s, with all of that stuff, Jim Blossom's Toad in the Wet Sprocket, like Better Than Ezra, even like Pearl Jam, in a way, like all of that stuff was just so prevalent in the air. And I think all of these bands, even though they were underground, they were more punk. You had more punk ethos, but I still think at the end of the day, like they wanted to like have that level of like popularity in their music. Because why would they have done it otherwise if nobody wanted to listen? So I think they were all sort of, Christie Front Drive, especially Jimmy Eat World. I mean, Jimmy Eat World did do that, but like Christie Front Drive, Boys Life, even like Texas Is the Reason, I think they all sort of wanted to get to that kind of pop rock level. I don't know. I could totally be wrong, but I feel like this is where they were headed. Just with like resources in the 90s, they just didn't get there, but now they can, which is really cool. Yeah, I just got to say it again. The clarity, the crystal clarity in his vocals and the repeated melody, I can hear every word. And that wasn't something that we had back in the early Boys Life. Like, I could always feel the lyrics and feel the emotion, but I a lot of times didn't know what the lyrics were, and I had to go look them up, which was cool. It definitely added to that mystique of the band. Like I said, you had to seek out what the lyrics were. Actually, in their second album, or it might have been their first album too, the liner notes aren't in there. So you had to go, I had to search around on the internet, especially back when I found out about this band. I don't even think the lyrics were even on the internet. Eventually they did appear, but I didn't know for the longest time what the lyrics were. So, but having the production quality in the vocals here, I can hear every word. I can hear like ghosts and wounds and like staring down the sun. Like you can just hear it crystal clear, which is really cool. Definitely miles ahead from, the earlier Boys Life stuff. Oh, cool. In this part too, definitely cool. I'm hearing like the bass pop out more and more, and I believe, it's just following the root chords of the song, but I can hear it here in a way that like punk bass, you can sort of hear the high end poke out, and it adds this like sort of crunchy, clanky quality that I hear here. So this is sort of like sort of hearkening back to like kind of a punk song in a way, their punk roots and punk production. So it's like the punk qualities mixed in with this basically sing-along pop song, like pop rock almost. So it's cool how they're blending sort of both worlds there. Wow. Yeah, cool feedback there at the end too. And like, I almost, Brandon Butler, his vocals are so good, especially at the end there. It really reminds me almost of like Bruce Springsteen, and sort of parts in the song kind of had this Dylan quality to it, which is incredible. He always had that sort of Midwestern sort of quality to his vocals that you could sort of hear in the early stuff, but here you can like really hear it, and he's got that down pat, which is great. Obviously, like I said, his band Canyon that came after Boys Life had that quality to it, had that like folk Americana quality to it. And that was where he was headed with his vocals, but he's just like mixing that in here, and it's just got this like anthem quality to it, which is really, really cool. You can tell it's just miles apart. But so this was a really cool song. Definitely not what I expected, but still like I can feel that it is a Boys Life track. And I'm super excited for the other songs that are coming next. Definitely cannot wait for that. So, yeah, if you're interested, definitely check out like all the bands I mentioned, because they all sort of have the same quality to them. So if it's Get Up Kids, Mineral, Texas Is the Reason, even Gin Blossoms, Toad and the Wet Sprocket, those 90s bands. And yeah, check out Canyon and The Farewell Bend. Both, Brandon Butler was the singer of both of those bands that came after Boys Life. And they are also two incredible bands. So, but anyways, there you have it, Always by Boys Life. And definitely hope Boys Life is listening. And I hope more people listen to them. So anyways, guys, have a great day.